Hello, my peeps, and welcome back to Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves. We are over 2/3 of the way through season 2. I'm your host, Ike, and before I spout any more weird sounds, I'd like to just take a moment and say thank you for being here and giving this pod a listen. It means a lot to me. You know, you chose to use your precious time and give me and my guest your ears. That's great. Thank you. Now, if you still have the bandwidth after you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who you think would like it. Or just subscribe yourself if you already haven't. It'd mean a lot. So, playing catch up, what happened in my life? I am coming to you from the morning after going out and celebrating my good friend and past guest Kyler Martin's birthday. Happy 30th, buddy. Had a grand old time wining and dining, taking him out to breakfast at a sprucey little sweet shop, as he has a tooth even sweeter than mine. Went and played Legacy, and he had a ball. Might have accidentally indoctrinated him into his new favorite Magic format. And then went out and had the nerdiest of times at a barcade in Silver Lake here in Los Angeles, where we got to see the coolest man alive. Let me break it down for you. Barcade, you got your bar, you got your arcade. In the corner of this arcade is one of my favorite games of all time, Time Crisis. Used to play it a lot when I was a kid. It was super cool. I remember it, the old controllers, if they still got the zhuzh necessary, they've got this little kick to the gun. When you shoot, there's a little bit of knockback, like there would be an actual gun, except 100th as much, if not even more. And so it's super fun. You press the button to crouch your guy and reload. You release the pedal to come back up and shoot. It's super fun. There was this guy dressed in think of the most classic late 80s cop uniform, all a Lethal Weapon. Just he's got the holster pack over his back. He's got plaid on. He's got that 80s quasi cool bowl cut, wearing the jeans up a little high, boots, and he is murdering this game. He's playing both sides at the same time. He is grandstanding. He's holstering his weapons when and when not appropriately, and playing both sides, much to an encore of spectators. Literally and figuratively. You got people watching, clapping. It was an event. There was multiple people recording on their phone. Everybody was just enthralled with this. So he does this. He beat the game on what I'm presuming was one token on each side, all the while giving the show me a moves, come on movement towards a computer screen boss. It was the silliest, nerdiest, coolest thing I've ever seen. When he finished, won the game, he turned around to the grand applause of the whole audience, took a bow. There's nothing like it. It was so cool. I feel so honored to have gotten to experience that just moment. That awesomeness aside, I am, I think, about 2 weeks away. Apologies. 2 or 3 weeks away from finally getting my health insurance back online, which thank God, because my wrist is starting to hurt, unrelated to last night's events. Just noticing over the weeks it is a lot more tender than I would prefer. But, it is what it is. We are where we are. I'm stretching whenever I can. I'm going to try to stretch every day when I get to work, right after I get there, as a kind of a stop point. I've been reading this book that I don't have in front of me, so I don't remember the title. I think it's Atomic Thinking or something like that. I'll try to remember to bring it home next week. But I got it for work, and I've been reading it, and there's a lot of really cool things about how to make and how to break patterns and habits and who knows what on what for. And one of the things it recommends is kind of removing things from your normal eye that you prefer not to do, and then to do things kind of create almost like a combo, where when you do this, you do this. When you do that, you do that, and it leads this to that to this to that. It's this kind of chain map thing to make it more likely to occur. So I'm going to try to make, parking my car, punching to work, and then immediately stretching this week. That being said, things that I did do this week that I'm very proud of, I wrote every day for 30 minutes. And for me, that is infinitely more than I've written in the rest of this year leading up to this week. Much to my dismay prior to this. This week, I'm very pleased with writing 30 minutes every day and just enjoying it, finding myself kind of sometimes seeking it out. Other times I force myself to do it because, it is what it is, and this is the thing I've chosen to do. But I'm so jazzed that I'm back into writing and enjoying it. Things that I'm not enjoying is I'm coming up on, other than not having insurance, I'm coming up on crunch time for this upcoming tournament that I'm headed to down in San Diego at the beginning of this month, or at the beginning of next month. Very much not sure where I am, trying to figure stuff out, getting a little bit more familiar, but still, woof. But yeah, that's it's my magic life right now. Got a very interesting bit of advice when talking about magic with some friends over brewskis last night, which is they noticed that when I make statements, I don't use I just make these blanket statements that don't hold up in the court of any popular opinion, law or otherwise, and that I would get angry and disagree with people who make I statements, which is ridiculous because how can I disagree with somebody else's experience? Unless they're saying something flat out incorrect, they're like, oh, I did this on a Wednesday. It's like, dude, it's Tuesday. You didn't do it a week ago. You did it yesterday. That's Monday. But even then, that's tawdry and stupid to get in that kind of argument to begin with. So we're going to move beyond that. But they were noticing that I would die on these hills that I can never win, and then build these mountains to stand on that were made of clay. Really didn't hold much water. Maybe sand's a better metaphor for that, but who knows, whatever. Yeah, it's going for this next week. I'm going to try to look out for that. Speaking of things to look out for, I don't know if any of you have had this where you notice you're getting better at a life skill that you feel like you should have had, but are proud of at the same time. For me, that's my anger. I'm a very angry person, if any of you know me in real life or have noticed on this podcast. And it does not take much to get me going. I've been working slowly but surely on that over the last decade. I think making leaps forward more and more over the last probably 5 years. Definitely this last couple of years. Still very much working on it. But I found myself playing a tournament yesterday, being able to stop myself from getting angry, or at least putting that anger to words as much. And I was proud, and then I was like, the back of my mind was like, you're an idiot for being proud of this. It was super weird. And then, it would go from base level, Isaac being proud of himself to Isaac being annoyed that he's proud of himself, and then Isaac correcting. It was son, father, grandfather, father conversations in my brain, where initially I'd be like, good job, Isaac. I'm like, why are you happy at that? I was happy because it's making improvements, you stupid son of a bitch. And then creating that was hearing all of myself talking at myself is so wild. I don't know if you've anything happen like that, but if you have, hit me up at Twitter, Ikes, or feel free to email me if you want to be more discreet at passionandpeevespodcast@gmail.com. Anyway, it is getting a bit warm in here. I'm having some difficulties with my air circulation in my room for the first time ever. Hopefully this is not a thing that continues. Anyway, as I need to get out of here, and you guys need to hear somebody other than me just talk away, please do stick around and enjoy my conversation with Thomas, who was sent to us via Sean Catanese. Thank you very much, son. Had a blast of a conversation. Hope y'all enjoy it. All right, folks. For my guest tonight, I have a 5-time presenter of academic research, an owner of a full limited edition Magical Landscape a la 1993, doctor in progress, tomato lover, and level 2 magical judge. It's Thomas! What's going on, Tom?
Oh, hi. What up? Oh, well, thanks for having me here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. But before we move on, you must answer these riddles. 1. What is your favorite movie line that you like to quote for no reason at all?
Everything from Emperor's New Groove. Like the whole movie. Just start saying all the lines, and I'll just get there. Boom, baby. Beware of the groove. I'll just walk around the house and muddle the lines from the movie, and my partner's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Beware of the groove." She's like, "All right, the groove." I'm like, and she'd be like, "Did you have coffee yet?" I'm like, "Maybe."
Did you have 2 coffees yet?
Maybe.
Who are you, my mom?
Mom? Buh, 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 buh.
All right, before we end up just reenacting the whole entire movie, radio edition, what's your favorite meal to make just for yourself, assuming cost and time are not relevant factors?
So I've been on like I love a good comfort meal, so something with a good, like a good amount of like and like we're now that you have like, you know, spending money, you can figure out like how to do it on the on both the spending money and on the cheap and on like you want upgrading. But like homemade ramen with upgrades, and like they could be simple as like a couple eggs,
an egg
and
on
some
it.
vegetables, like to get whatever you want in there, and you can just make a good bowl, and it just feels warm on the soul.
Have you ever done the Parasite equivalent? So I don't know. Are you familiar with the film
I
Parasite?
know the movie exists. I have not watched it.
Okay, well, not a spoiler, but there's a rich family, a poor family. The rich family at one point has their servants make for their kid this meal that is effectively more or less top ramen with Kobe beef. It's the highs and lows collide, and it's just like one of this like it's like putting gold leaf on a Happy Meal or something like that. It's just nonsense.
Yep.
But that it sounds like you haven't quite gotten that far yet.
Haven't gone that far of like let's throw that really particular thing in there, but like, you know.
What's the most you think you've spent in addendum to the $1 like package of ramen?
No more than like $4 or $5. Like I just like having a fridge, opening it up, and going, "Oh, let's put vegetables in this." Okay, great. Let's throw in.
Ooh, we're living fancy. Broccoli.
Oh my god. You can go the distance with some sauces, so we can make it work.
Who's someone you've never met, alive or dead, that you'd like to have lunch with?
So we're gonna have the high and low ramen with this random.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you feel audacious enough to make this for said person.
Oh yeah, 100%. Tolkien.
Oh, great choice. Don't know if you'd like it, but
we're gonna have a deep conversation, number one, about the ramen noodles, and number two, we're gonna have a conversation about going, why did you invent a language, and then after inventing a language, decide to design a story to showcase your language in, but then like contradict your own self? Never mind. Anyway, we'd have a conversation or two.
Why did you decide it was that important to fight the whole entire literary community to rewrite the word dwarves? Ask him that one.
Let's go. And this is like what was the?
All you gotta do him to be his little sprite is just give him like a shroom, and he'll be fine.
I show him the modern world and go, "Hey, so look what you did." He's go, "Oh." It's like, yeah, okay. Now let's unpack some of the things you did. It'd be a great conversation.
What inanimate object would you be best friends with where it's sentient, do you think?
What best friends with? Well, wouldn't be my phone. That's my enemy.
The bearer of bad news.
It's like, hey, get out of here. Don't doom scroll in front of me. Go away. I don't know, like my Bulbasaur stuffy behind me, because then it'll be a Bulbasaur, and I'm like, all right,
that'd be cool. You go out
Bulbasaur, because I don't know if this podcast is Bulbasaur propaganda, but Bulbasaur propaganda.
You can take a bath with Bulbasaur. You can go swimming with Bulbasaur.
Just go on adventures. We're gonna be the very best that no one ever was.
I see what you did there. All right, you're going out to a party. Other than taking Bulbasaur with you, if you wanted to look radical, other than Bulbasaur, what normal garb, what accessory would you add to your ensemble?
So I usually wear. I have this if I want to be like really fancy or slasher, like kind of show up a little bit. I have this like warlock looking cardigan that goes like down to like past your knees, down like halfway between your knee and your ankle. So like it definitely like gives you that little gives that little a spice that makes you feel like I'm definitely like I'm gonna cast Eldritch Blast at you, or drink a cup of coffee. I don't know, but we're gonna find out together.
It's your risk to stand near to this magician.
For the audience members at home that haven't been lost yet, I definitely am a warlock that took the warlock sorcerer that moves my points around. I sleep for like 2 hours and just keep going. All right, moving on.
Deep cut.
Deep cut.
What life lesson do you wish you learned sooner?
You're allowed to fail. And I think that we put too much emphasis on being perfect because everything is packaged to us as an idea of perfect. And that's not what the world is. The world is hard lessons, hard situations, and repetition and trying again. And I hate so much that we teach too many people to be too right too often. Like, you can be wrong and then do something else, or wrong but, or wrong and, instead of you're wrong and then punching you down or knocking you down. And I like as a long I've been a teacher for over a decade in some way, shape, or form. I've been an academic student for way too long. If we'd stopped glorifying the whole being right the first time concept and moved into the you can learn by doing things in another way, people would be more, in my humble opinion, it would allow people to be gentler to themselves.
Absolutely agree. I think another reason you bring this up is I totally agree. And it's something that I very much think about all the time. It's something that I have had to get over a large amount of my adult life. I think one of the things that just popped in my head, one of the things that like makes this so much the bedrock of the American culture, at the very least, if not the world culture, is how much we celebrate a perfect record in like sports. When somebody's like, they start off and they have a hot streak and they're like, oh, he's never been defeated. It's like, yeah, that doesn't make him not better than somebody who's been defeated once, though. Like the way they compare it, it's just like, oh, he's, unblemished record, which cool, but also like it doesn't make him better. If anything, like there's some quote or some story where somebody talks about who they would prefer or who they would bet on, and they said the person that's lost because they know defeat and have risen back from it, as opposed to somebody who's never tasted defeat and doesn't know how much it hurts.
They don't know how to bounce back, or they don't know the process of how to recover or resume, or they just do the one strategy or whatever thing they've been doing consistently because it hasn't punished them yet or broken them down yet, or whatever word they want to use to claim. And then it defeats the whole point, because the goal is to learn and grow and develop. You shouldn't be staying locked in the same all the time.
Totally. In happier news, what's your favorite non-exercise thing that you have to force yourself to do? Because it's not that happy. Tricked you.
Favorite non-exercise thing that I have to do. So exercising out the window. Maintaining a sleeping schedule that's like real. Like I in multiple points of my life, I've gone through phases of when that should work, and we've reached the point now where like, okay, like we just because we have adult time and adult money now doesn't mean we have to also have adult responsibilities. And I have a hard cap now of like every night now we should be wrapping it up and getting down at a reasonable time, and that reasonable time can fluctuate. It doesn't have to be 10:05 on the dot, but it should be every day. We need to get to a point where we can wrap it up and get a solid amount of hours each day. Because if we don't, we're just going to set ourselves up to have problems the next day or 2 days later, because sleep debt is real.
Well, not only sleep debt, but I remember reading recently a study about how it affects your mood. It affects depression. There's a lot of studies into like having and like you said, not exactly 10:05, but having a very like similar sleep structure for every single day, and how much it benefits you. Yep.
That's just, it comes down to like, we're not, for the record, we're not scientists here. We're just two people that have read some papers at some point and have.
I read a tweet once.
I paid attention, and I definitely like, your body has to regenerate somehow, and it does it during that process. And shortcutting it is just, over time in the beginning, sure, it's fine, but always older you get, just it's not a good idea for you.
Yeah, we're not still teenagers anymore. That's for sure.
Boo! Hiss.
Despite
Boo.
despite our activities resembling them
That doesn't-
somewhat similarly with Bulbasaur, spouting our opinions wildly out into the universe for anybody to listen.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a condiment, which do you think you'd be?
Sriracha.
Solid choice. Are you? Is there anything that sriracha doesn't go on?
I haven't discovered it yet. Well, I guess I think I want to say the dark ice cream, but I guarantee you someone's done it. And I'm like, and I don't know if I'm more upset that they've done it or more concerned that I haven't had access to it yet. So that's my line right now. Follow up with me in 2 weeks.
If you were gonna put it on ice cream, what kind of ice cream would you put it on?
Oh, now that's the next worry. Do I want to put on an ice cream that's like a flavor I don't like to make it slightly better? Do I want solely a good ice cream flavor? I have a sneaking suspicion I'm gonna find it at one of those nice good creamery. Like I live in the Bay Area, and there's a bunch of good creameries, and I have a sneaking suspicion it's gonna be in some like fancy. It's like this goes with something else, and it's going to be a sriracha on chocolate or something, like something to like mix it with the right kind of like salt or with sea salt, caramel, and sriracha or something. That's my
I can
take.
see it going well with chocolate. There's a lot of like spicy chocolate
That's true.
drinks and such. That I can see that playing.
The more I've talked about it in this
that
conversation, the more I'm like, oh well, that's going to happen. Yep. If you come up with it on this, if someone out there on the podcast comes up with this, they owe us royalties.
Yeah, exactly. We get a quarter and a small scoop of sriracha chocolate.
Done. That's all I need.
Other than putting sriracha on chocolate ice cream, do you have a life hack you'd like to share with the class to improve their daily living?
Life hack to improve your daily living. We talk about it, like I know the internet talks about it all the time, and like there's a difference between the glamorousness of it and then the practicality of it, but like some form of schedule goes a long way. I'm not saying write down every task you have to do that day. I'm not saying you have to commit to a journal or a calendar, like a journal or like any activity. Having the baseline of your day written out in like a Google Calendar, or at least ideas of the big stuff coming up on a Google Calendar or some other post-it note system, or the note on your mirror in the morning, something that gives you a sense of breaking down the milestones of your days beyond 8 a.m. wake up, 9 a.m. work, 5 p.m. lay on the floor. It's like, okay, but you can do a bit more and take back the momentum to yourself is by putting in those hard stops and hard blocks. This again goes back to the be gentle to yourself comment and reinforce how do you have your time for you and your things.
Yeah, I actually recently read, isn't a book that I got given at work, where it was talking about a study they did, I think it was in Great Britain or something. And there was a control group that was told to like do nothing different. There was a group that was, hey, it was some mediocre way of reminding themselves. It was, they would tell themselves they were going to do it, or something relatively benign. And then there was a group that would plan. They would set a date. They would write it down, and they would like say it out loud or something like that. There was a multiple reminder step. I'm butchering this a bit.
Sure.
But the first two, the control and like the mild, like, hey, I'm going to plan to do this thing, and like would talk about it but not write anything down, both achieved it about like 35%, which is apparently like nominally normal.
Yep.
And then the last group achieved it at 91% of accomplishing their goal, which was like going to the gym once a week or something. It was something really, mediocre. But the like writing something down, planning it, keep a modicum of keeping yourself connected to and attempting to accomplish the goal goes like leaps and bounds above, just talking about it. It's why you see gym memberships, spike in January and drop off by March or whatever. It's because people just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym, and they just sign up for a gym membership. They don't sign up for like a class. They don't have like a workout buddy. They don't like put it into their schedule. They just think they're gonna magically happen.
Yep. And it turns out that activation energy, or if you subscribe to spoon theory, or I like to use the word spell slots because, again, going back to being a D&D nerd, You only have so many spell slots per day, and it costs. You can cast. You have very for those at home that don't know D&D, you have so many spell slots. They start at level 1, they go up. You have so many slots for each level, like levels 1 through like 10 or whatever. And the higher the level, the bigger the bigger that spell count can be for. And you could spend so many of those spell slots to do your activities, but maybe like calling the dentist is like a level 4 spell slot, and you can burn up some level 2 ones to do it, or it's a level 4 spell slot. And it just comes down to how many of those spell slots can you spend in a day or in a week. And the reality is that you need to sleep and recover to get those back. Going back to the sleep comment, and you also
you're talking about like being kind to yourself too, which also plays into that, as opposed to being like, I can do everything. You have to be realistic with how many slots you have.
Yep, 100%. And I very much think that we need to be in the phase of doing things to take care of ourselves, so that we can be able to do more over a long period of time versus burning out quickly.
Yeah, got to crop rotate those energy points.
Yep.
For those of you that aren't familiar, crop rotation, not only a magic card, but it's the way that farmers, at least back in the day, used to keep fields having the nutritional value necessary for said crop, and they would move them around so as to not completely kill the nutrient base that was in the soil. And so, like
by growing the same thing over and over and over again, it made those plants take the same minerals out of the soil. The soil doesn't get to recover. If you switch it to a different plant, it accesses a different kind of soil, and therefore it's good. And then on the 3rd or 4th pass, you burn the ground and reset the ground. But we've now turned into a farmer channel.
Yeah, thus the Dust Bowl, I believe. I believe that's like one of the components that led to the Dust Bowl, is like crop rotation was not being utilized at such time by such peoples. And also random catastrophic dust storms. Anyway, if you were said farmer during the Dust Bowl, what would be your perhaps favorite non-traditional curse word to utter?
Non-traditional cuss word?
Yeah.
Oh, by golly or something? I don't know. That feels like something ridiculous that you could say with enough venom.
I love by golly. Somehow not used as of yet. That is from a bygone era. Knee slapper if I ever had one.
Yep.
That's knees, I mean. While we're talking about the Dust Bowl, what poor man luxury do you still enjoy to this day? Other than ramen. No double dips.
Arizona green teas for 99 cents.
All right. Sadly, not anymore, my friend. Those days are over. I think we're looking at like $1.29.
In my heart, I'm only giving them 99 cents. I don't look at the card. Like, I don't look at the fee on my card anymore. I'm like, it's 99 cents. I moved on.
All right, you're a green tea purist, though. You get the green tea and honey.
Yeah.
All right, respect. I'm a RX Energy fellow.
Ooh, okay.
I need that. I need that I need that non-medicinal pump up. That's my favorite thing about the can, is that, for those of you that don't know, Arizona Iced Tea, fantastic company. They have a product called RX Energy that has the medicinal symbol on the side, and because apparently some lady, I don't know where, definitely in the United States, drank a lot of it and was like, "Why am I not cured?" And they're like, "Oh, God." And so they had to put a warning on it that said, "This is not medicine."
Yep.
Which is just. Yep. Also, while we're on the fun fact territory of Arizona Iced Tea, so since 1992 up until I believe 2022 or 2021, they cost 99 cents. So that's about 30 years, give or take a year, that they cost 99 cents, very much because of the owner, who was from Arizona, and believed that everybody should be able to afford a cool drink on a hot summer's day. So mad props to you, my fine sir. And also had a number on his can, this is my favorite bit about it, had a number on his can that if the store selling it sold it over the marked price on the can, you could call them, report them. They would call the distributor, who would call them and say, "Hey, these are to be sold for 99 cents plus like the CRV or whatever. If you do not put it back to 99 cents, we will no longer distribute to you."
Wow.
Yeah. Guy,
All right.
man of his word. Mad
All right.
respect.
Held it up and said in the bargain. We like it.
Yeah. Only reason they went up this last year is because cost of aluminum and cost of shipping has increased, and so they couldn't very well continue as a company and sell it at a loss. So
Nope.
Respect and appreciate.
Understood. We understand what happened. Cost of doing business.
Yeah. Speaking of doing business, what's a job that at some point in your life you wanted to pursue but are very glad you didn't get?
Oh boy, job I wanted to pursue at some point, and very glad I'm not doing it. Man. So like, there's not a way to answer that question without being like stereotypical about like, well, those jobs are awful or like whatever. I think at some point I wanted to be this. Okay, so I'm gonna phrase my answer in a way in which is I don't begrudge anybody that has this job. I'm glad I don't have it because I wouldn't be able to do it, and that's like the people that do it.
Oh yeah,
they are great, but I could never be a firefighter. Like I wanted to be when I was younger, but like running into a burning building, you got to be able to do something else. So it's just that's just a level of skill set my brain's not programmed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my answer to this, while hilarious to multiple family members of mine because of my just level of fitness, was I wanted to, at one point to be a Navy SEAL, and then looking back, I was like, what the hell? For a million reasons, what the hell was I thinking? No slight against those men in service and women in service, but it's just like, what was I thinking?
Yep.
One, not cut out for it, and two, never was gonna happen.
Yep.
But yeah, same thing. It's just like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't end up there. It'd be just miserable.
It's just like, how do I do this? I can't do this. No. Yep.
So, who would you want to play you in a movie of your life while you are not firefighting? You can pick a time period of your life and the time period of the actor portraying you.
Oh. Gary Oldman.
Love it.
I want to see Gary go through my PhD program and just swear the whole time.
By golly!
By golly! What is this research work I have to do? Like, it'd be great seeing him like live my 30s and watching him go through my phases of my life.
Just watching him eat Cheetos and top ramen.
And just top ramen and being like sitting in the room, like holding his head in his hand, having to do like 3 different kind of programs and tasks, and just filling out financial aid Lord forms.
I would pay however much a movie ticket is these days just to watch Gary Oldman sit in a big bank chair and eat Cheetos and watch television.
Yep.
Like real talk. I just realized that I think that's something that needs to happen.
Yep.
Whoever knows Gary Oldman, get
Gary Oldman in here. We need him.
We need him to sit in a beanbag chair and eat Cheetos.
Let's go.
What media, whether it be book, graphic novel, TV show, or movie, have you been putting off that is next on your to consume list that you just can't wait to break open?
I don't want to continue this dragging on, but I have done a very bad job of reading actual books in the last 5 years, because when you get into it, and for the guys at home that don't know, when you get into academic programs of master's degrees or PhD degrees, you spend a lot of time consuming academic work or academic studies or academic structures, to the point that literally stops your ability to like read for enjoyment, because you're now reading. I now read everything technical.
Yeah, you do. You use too many of your spoons on reading.
Yeah,
you don't have any more spoon spell slots to read.
But when my spell slots do come back, I've bought some. My to be read pile is insane of of books I bought during COVID quarantine, and then Kickstarters I backed, and then I backed like all of the Brandon Sanderson like secret books that are coming. So like I have Way of Kings over there, and I have read like 100 pages of the Way of Kings, and I really I know it's a good book, but like I need to reinvest in sitting and reading it again, which requires me not to be distracted by everything else I'm doing. So it's on my coming soon list, is finishing that pile and then seeing how I feel about it.
All right. Well, lastly, before we throw it to a commercial break, and maybe you can read another page of Way of Kings, if you could have listeners of this podcast hear one song of your choosing, which would it be?
Okay, so I have a very all over the place taste, and I started the show off with a song by Ghost, Dance Macabre.
Yep.
And then if we wanted to go an extra distance on other music for people to listen to, for like other songs for people to check out.
I'll allow it.
Salute my yeah. My suggestion would be Fly for Your Life by Gunship. It's got that 80s vaporwave, even though it's definitely a modern 2015 song.
All right, with that, we're going to throw it to our first break. Feel free to stick around and enjoy this totally real commercial, or take a minute to enjoy Dance Macabre by Ghost, or Fly for Your Life by Gunship. Or if you really wanted to hear a song from a previous episode, check out the playlist on Spotify, Passionate People and Preposterous Peeps Podcast, Song Rex. It's a long title, I know. Don't worry, there's a link in the description. Either way, see you in a jiffy. Having trouble staying awake?
Oh, yeah.
Wish you'd followed your dream so you had the give a crap necessary to meet your deadlines?
Oh, definitely.
Are you likely to be fired the second another warm body walks through that door and asks your boss for an application?
Probably.
Would you prefer to keep this shit sack of a job instead of explaining to Susan that you've been fired?
I mean, I guess.
Well then, let me introduce you to caffeine. Caffeine is a highly addictive substance that'll keep you jittery and energized to do any fucking stupid task for hours.
That sounds like drugs.
It is!
Aren't drugs illegal?
Not this one. So next time you feel like sitting on the sidewalk instead of at your desk, reach for a caffeine.
Wait, you didn't tell me where I can buy it.
'Cause it's mother-loving everywhere, you blind Neanderthal. Welcome back, folks. So, Thomas, what is your passion that you brought with you today?
My passion, based on what I've been doing, is I spend a lot of time working on developing communities for tabletop games.
Wow. How does one even do that?
So from I wear a lot of hats, basically. So from a...
Hey, me too.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I have seen them. From a logistical standpoint, mostly what I refer to is card games like Magic the Gathering and Flesh and Blood, or tabletop game communities such as Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. From a logistics point of view, I work in a lot of event management roles. So I've worked for a bunch of companies running around the country, running events, running tournaments, running conventions for said games, where our job is to ensure people are having a safe environment to play, or spaces to gather, or to discuss stuff. I've presented at conferences with other developers or members of the community discussing how gameplay stuff can be done in different kinds of settings, such as schools or after-school programs, libraries, your game centers, how it can be done by teachers or proctators, or by by anybody that's in the space that wants to volunteer. So basically, a lot of my space is just going around telling people, hey, games are great. We should utilize them in better ways. We can make $1 on what needs to be done to cover the cost of do it. Let's make it work. And that's more or less my PhD defense is games and gamification for learning, and why it's a good thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So to kind of rewind time before we get into how you helped the gathering of magic.
Sure.
How did you get into such a role? Like, when did you first start getting into, helping build tabletop communities?
So if we want to get real technical about it, in like 2001, when I was a much younger Tom, when we were younger, we all played games, and we were all had our different exposures to different kinds of games, and the organization, we live in an era now where all this is normalized now. It wasn't normalized when we were growing up. And I feel like people didn't expect you to talk about it out loud or in public spaces or kind of jazz. Now, as an adult, I went to my school when I was a teacher and said, I want to run a D&D club. And they said, cool, how much money do you need? I was like, I don't know, $50 for school books, I guess, or overtime that day. And they're like, great, done. Yeah. Do what you have to, easy. It was just more the business plan was you came in here with a plan already and said, I want to do this. Great, good luck. Yeah. You have interest already? I'm like, I have 10 kids that said they're willing to sign up. It's like, wonderful. They have to stay at C's or better. I'm like, okay, done. I actually had a kid that was borderline going to fail the semester, and when you're borderline failing, they're going to remove you from your electives or your special program stuff. And when the student found out he was going to fail out of my D&D, be removed from D&D program, proceeded to go to every teacher, what do I need to get done so I can pass the benchmarks? And then spent 2 weeks getting every missing homework assignment done, and showed up to all the classes and all that kind of jazz.
It.
Because they found the thing that got them. They came to school to be in a safe environment to play D&D and tell stories. And then school was a secondary option for them. No, I guarantee you the kid's learning as time goes on. Like that's how it's going to work. But they found their buy-in. Their buy-in was playing D&D. And
so would you say that experience got him XP?
He definitely leveled up 100%.
Thanks for the assist.
So to answer the question, when did I start doing this stuff? And the answer is going to be, I've been in the environment and in the space for about... I started judging in 2017, I think. I was working... I was in the environment grinding, playing at events before that. I think my tabletop stuff is when I started in college going, I want to be in the crossroads between education research, the game industry, and academia. I want to find that between those three circles, I want to be in that middle point. And in 2015, that middle point is very small. In 2023, that middle point is very much bigger than it was. It is a big growing field. Yeah. And we're doing a great job. Everything like look at our media, right? And Last of Us is on television. It's the #1 TV show. Yeah. Right now on HBO. Like we're on the 5th, 17th different version of Star Wars. We're on, their Star Trek.
There's shows where people just play D&D.
There's literally like Critical Role and Legend of Vox Machina. Here's your homework for the audience. Go look up any of that and tell me that you haven't seen it somewhere on Amazon at this point or
there was also the show with Dan Harmon where they're just playing D&D and like animating like bits of it or whatever. I don't remember what that one's called.
Yep.
But so how did this first manifest itself? Was it just like, hey, I want to play D&D in school. Here's $50.
It was so when you're...
You said 2001, right?
Well, for me, it was much more when I was younger. Like I wanted to be able to be a gamer as an adult. That was my goal. I wanted to be in the gaming industry as an adult.
The dream.
It was a dream. And I got there. I just found a different way to get there compared to everybody else. Like, I didn't go into the gaming industry directly. I went the other way around. I went the academia route going, we can make gaming happen in schools. And like, it's not a new concept. I can send you some articles later. But in the end of the day, it was more the lines of, I wanted to be that person that wasn't there, that no one had when I was a kid and a student. So
absolutely.
I went through, when I went to the grad program, I got the idea of that crossroads, and then I started looking at like what the topics are and like what I could dig into and what I could do, and role play games, activity games, using games itself, the whole theory, went back and forth. So I started doing. So I was teaching at the same time I've been doing my class work and beginning stuff for my PhD. So I spent several years while teaching doing that as well. So I was running a club. After school. I was doing research, seeing the practicality of all of it there. And then traveling in 2019 for conferences, presenting on, hey, my 7th grade students did design this stuff. They just want to be able to write. They want critical writing skills. They're doing math puzzles, doing these kinds of things. They can be the dungeon masters. They can be the game runners. We don't need to be worried about introducing these concepts to them. They're already well ahead of it and willing to do it, because to them it's for lack of a better term, it's magical, because it gives them a space to be comfortable, play a role switch, play other kinds of things they want to do. I watched kids that don't talk be captains or leaders, and I watch kids that are very energetic and buoyant and whatnot be like quiet, stoic strategists. Like it gives them that space, and it's safe, and it lets them be in an environment where they can, I don't like that today, do something else next day. Okay, great.
Is that something that you got to do growing up, or is this kind of like I didn't get this, but I feel like they should have? Like where did this spurn from? Was it the lack of or the experience that you wanted other people to have?
I mean, I've been playing games since 2001. Gaming to me was like it just made sense. Like it was just a thing people did. So when I got older as an adult, I just missed out. Like it took a long time for my brain to realize that other people didn't have that background. And I felt bad that people didn't have it, so I wanted to give some chances to some people. But to me, like I grew up in a Star Trek house where my one parent liked one captain, one parent liked another captain. Like it was just So it's just it was a different kind of growing.
Hold on. Can I guess?
Sure, go ahead.
Did Dad like Picard? Mom liked oh crud, I'm losing points. Shatner.
Reversed.
Ah, damn it.
Mom liked Picard. Dad liked Shatner. I'm a Janeway diehard.
Can't be like you can't follow in the parents' footsteps, right? You gotta
go. I gotta
where no.
I
one
need
has
to
gone
go on a
before.
voyage.
Yeah. The punnery. So it sounds like you grew up in a house that was very accepting of, if not the spurning of your nerddom. When was there at any point? I think it's a fair thing to guess, but I'll double check just to not overstep my bounds. Is it pretty fair to assume that there was nothing nerdy there was no pushback on any nerd activities growing up?
No, I think most of my formative years were along the lines of like, you can't fail school. Do whatever you want. Yeah, I want C's or betters. That was the
Oh wow, that's a very lenient nerdy house.
It was I mean, like I was playing D&D and Magic in 7th grade or 6th grade. Like I spent most of high school grinding PTQs. If I wasn't PTQing, I went to work at 16. So like I had responsibilities or I was able to go. I'm going to, like, when I lived on the East Coast, so it's like I'm going 3 hours away for 2 days to go jam dredge matchups. Bye. Like come back and then do my whatever term paper project I have to do. So it was definitely it was a little bit of like hands off the brakes, but more along the lines of like I had like mass amounts of Legos. I had all the books I wanted. It was definitely I was set up to have the nerdum of a childhood, which allowed me to, like, now as an adult, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely older and have grown and done stuff, but I also enjoy doing a lot, like getting to have fun with all the stuff that's enjoyable.
So growing up as a nerd in the 2000s, as I did you have to deal with, was there ridicule? Was there, not shame necessarily because that's your own personal take on it, but was there kind of pushback from the school and the community around you? Or was it a pretty, like, fame-esque school, but in a nerdy direction where there was just mono acceptance all the way around and everybody just kind of did what they wanted?
Not to, like, play the whole stereotypical, culture of the 90s and early 2000s, but like there's definitely I think everything pre-high school wasn't cool enough yet, so we got mocked and ridiculed or bullied for all of it. And then post-high school no one cares, because in high school you're all in your own different cliques anyway, and you're all just a scattered D&D party by the end of it, and then you all just want to get out. So I would say that the formative split is both subjugation to the times of what we were growing up, which is completely different now, because now being in all the nerd stuff's all mainstream. So like, no one and also no one cares now. We didn't have the tools or the influence of Twitter, YouTube, social media. We didn't have the content programming. We just had.
Hey, we had MySpace.
We're moving on.
Okay, so just brief aside. Looking at the fact that nerd is like mainstream and cool now, do you ever get envious and jelly, or are you just happy for the younger generation?
Well done. Have fun. Like,
Oh, okay.
like I don't. I am comfortable with where I am in my life and who I am as myself, and I'm working on my gentle adult life phase right now between that and like the hustle grind culture. But like everybody, like just because it's mainstream now doesn't mean people are having obstacles and problems of their own. And instead, I'm just going, I hope you're taking care of yourself. That's what I care about. I hope you're being gentle to yourself. Don't follow whatever trender says you do that. Don't like that perfect slice on whatever social media platform you're looking at. That's you know better. That's not what the real world is. That's someone making an image and then hiding it out there for you.
Yeah. So, how long was it until you felt the need and the urge to include everyone into this thing that you knew was the best thing since sliced bread?
I was
were you trying in like high school to get people to play that were, like effectively like you're like telling you're doing the stereotypical after school special of being the nerd inviting the jock to come play D&D and he's shoving you in a locker?
The jock came and played D&D because he wanted to play D&D, so I got him. But I would say high school was very much the beginning of like people aren't going to do stuff until you need someone to coordinate. You need a point person, and it wasn't that hard once you start telling people, hey, it doesn't matter. Cheetos, Mountain Dew. See you on Friday at 6:00. At someone's place, and we're going to do in the game, and we're just gaming. And like most of my high school year was a bunch of like having like I definitely was in this mindset of facilitator role, and I've been doing that for most of my life, and I think that's just a space I fell into, that if I want to help people see this stuff, I got to be part of promoting it and spelling a PR package, and like it just is the norm. Like Friday, like it took me a very long time to realize that other people's Friday nights were not drafting. Like that's just what my Friday was for like 20 years. Like it's like that's not what people do on Friday. I'm like, oh, well, but we could be drafting. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, you guys ain't cracking packs.
What are you doing? Like these are fresh onslaught packs. What are you doing?
Oh, that's hitting too deep.
So,
what's the biggest misconception you think about just tabletop communities, and especially when it comes to orchestrating them, whether it be from inside the circle or outside? What's the biggest misconception about like the aspect that you have of kind of like building, coordinating, and for lack of a better term, creating these magical spaces? And if you have a different answer for the people that aren't in the know versus that are in the know, I'm open to hearing both.
There's nothing wrong with a pre-built campaign. Stop making people have to make everything up from scratch. Or don't. There's nothing wrong with changing rules. I understand rules as written, and like as a person that definitely lives in a world of a lot of rule structures. We can be rule zeroing the whole time. It's really not that hard to just come out and go.
Right, what is rule zero? Rule zero for those that don't know.
Rule zero in most in like casual Magic or in D&D or in other types of games, even Monopoly, you could rule zero. Rule zero is when the people at the table all agree to modify the current establishing rules to usually make an exception or make a different kind of achievement score or different kind of settings. You'll see this. So
for instance, for an example, for Monopoly, it would be making free parking give out the money that's been collected from, I think it's like community chest or like the tax effect in the game. So just putting the money in there, and then if you hit it, you get the money.
You're just modifying an established structure. I think that we've gamers and just people in general have come to the conclusion that we can change things and try it all out. And the more board game culture has got into like buying a board game off the shelf, playing it a couple times, going, great, I want to change the way this game works. So me and X players are going to agree with when we play this game, and we're agreeing and we're opting in. That number one key is that it's choice. A player can go like, I'm not comfortable with that rule zero, or I don't like the way that's working. Can we workshop it a bit more? Versus you have to play it the way we want to. It's like, no, like we all know the rules of whatever we're doing going in. The rule zero is allowing us to manipulate them to change the experience to be something we want. So in context of D&D, I don't hold a lot of weight to certain, like I don't make people follow like I don't make the archers go find their arrows. I assume that they do it already. I won't make them tell me I went and reclaimed my weaponry, or the barbarian doesn't need to track how much weight they're carrying. You're a big barbarian. I get it. You're carrying a heavy thing. I don't like, if it's a cool scene and you're picking up an elephant, great, roll a strength check. But beyond that one, I don't care how much gear you have on you, or like it's small little nuances to streamline the activity. Yeah. So like, don't be afraid to do that. And I think a lot of people are, the misconceptions come down to that everything has to be, there's so much like following things to the T, or the misconception that too many people follow things to the T. I'm like, most people, they want to have a good time. They want to have pretzels. They want to hang out, eat food, or like eat a snack and be around their friends. I've got friends that literally play games because it's their opportunity to hang out with people. They could care less about what their character could never move from the starting line. They're happy being in the room.
Yeah. It's a vehicle for companionship. Yep. Yeah. So this is something that a lot of people might not understand, but the idea of what is it about the community to, like, if you're going to explain it to an outsider, and this is a bit of like a kind of bridge under a well, but when it comes to you mentioned people not wanting to do like preset campaigns, which is kind of like the I guess it's kind of still in the same vein of like the rule zero kind of effect. Can you go into why that is and how that kind of plays out and why that's kind of like a fool's errand? So, in your estimation,
I feel like we want to be able to let people know that you can play the games you want to play them, and you're going to have a group of people that want to play in those games. Now, number one, everybody's welcome at the table. At least at my table, everybody's welcome. Number two, make sure your table's inclusive. Don't exclude people. Number three, either play a pre-made game or play a homebrewed game, or don't be afraid to borrow elements, take them in, take them out, plug and play, rip them apart, change some narrative pieces. You watched Lord of the Rings last week, stick that part in there, it's fine. Your friends are going to have fun at the table. The people you bring to the table are going to have fun at the table, assuming that you are willing to do the activity and put the time into getting it to run for them. And it doesn't have to be a million hours a week. It could be like, 2 hours of prep, like no different than watching a movie or watching a book, or 15 minutes of prep because you probably have something in the back of your head you want to utilize. I think misconceptions come into play where people are they expect this big, perfect, grandiose, large-scale thing to happen, but nothing in your life does that. Like your day job doesn't do that, your activities don't do that, movies don't do that. Like you have to ensure that the thing you're doing for entertainment that day is both entertaining yourself and entertaining the people that's there at the table or the room with you.
I could no notes, as I'm sure you'd like to hear when putting out your thesis. I absolutely agree. On the kind of flip side of that, do you have a favorite non-obvious aspect to community building that some people might not be aware of, that you just fills your heart?
I know we're having this conversation. You and me have met each other before. We've been in the same room. I've commented on your playmat.
Unfortunately,
but we've never chatted before, right? We've never had a conversation beyond
not particularly.
Hey, Judge, what's up with this? I'm like, hey, that's a cool playmat. I used to live in Philadelphia. That was it. But beyond that one, we never had a conversation. But we're having a conversation now and having a great time by the aspects of our network just going, hey, I know this person and I know this person, put them in the room together. And instantaneously getting that message from that person was like, yep, great. Isaac's cool. Let's hang out. Let's just chat. Because I know that the connection from that other network piece and as a person I also respect and value the time with, and that the connection is going to be a good time. Doesn't matter what the context is or what the situation is. And I think it's because at where we are as adults, and this might go, your mileage might vary, but I think that the communities you build from these like gaming organization, gaming groups, table groups, expands, and that network is people you just want to be chilled with, and it doesn't bother you. You don't talk to them for like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Like, I haven't seen you since pre-COVID, and then before, like, who knows what event that was in 2018, 2019. But we're chatting now and just going at it because it's a good time, and we have that level of comfortability, familiarity, and trust because of the community.
Yeah. That's one of the things I had at one point. A then girlfriend, now ex-girlfriend of mine, was having a tough time. She lost, and I've told this story like 3 or 4 times on the podcast, but she was, she had moved out of her roommates who were kind of her core friend group, and she was like, "Hey, you have so many friends. How do you make friends? Like, what would you recommend doing?" And I was like, play Magic, I guess. It's like it's a hack.
Yep.
It's like a cheat code playing any kind of TCG or tabletop gaming, especially with a community that like kind of, I can't speak to D&D, but I can imagine it kind of is inclusive in the same way. But for me, Magic, I moved down to Los Angeles knowing maybe one person who I don't even really talk to or hang out with anymore, but I didn't really know anybody. And the second COVID started lightening up and I went and played Paper Magic, it did not take long. It was within like weeks I was starting to make friends.
Yep.
And now, have like a gaggle of friends, hang out, trust, go on trips, and like have helped me move multiple times.
Yep.
Because of just the community and like just the way it works. And it is one of those beautiful things that
the number of friends
allows for so much more.
The number of Magic friends I've helped move in my life. And I know them, the people I know between like I've hung out with you for one meal or I've hung out with you for 3 years. It's just astounding because of how connected this group's do it. I have a friend of D&D players that none of us are friend. Like none of us would have crossed paths if it wasn't for being having a D&D friend bring us together. We went from 6 strangers to like they helped me move twice type situation.
Yeah. So
it's inclusive, it's wholesome. These communities are made. It turns out you can't play games by yourself, for lack of a better term. You need more people to play games, and you want to play more and more games. So it turns out you're incentivized to make new friends.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, going from the passionate to the pedantically problematic.
Okay.
Thomas, what is your preposterous peeve? I couldn't help myself.
You had to get there. The peeves. People's chewing. I used to think it's just man. It gets on to me. Like I sat down for like 2 days and thought about this. Like, what is the thing that bothers me the most? And it triggered me the other day when I was like sitting here trying to do a project, and I heard my partner chewing, or I heard someone in the kitchen chewing, and it just like doesn't matter. The mouth is open, the mouth is closed. It's just the way they're chewing. And I was just like, please stop.
Do you have like supersonic hearing?
I mean,
or is it?
I don't know. Who knows? Is it?
Well, no, but what I mean is like if somebody is like attempting their damnedest to chew quietly,
that makes it worse because then like you're because what you're doing to like that makes it worse because 2 things are happening. Number 1, you've stopped being normal. Like you stopped doing you've stopped doing the normal like eating trigger. Like you've proceeded to move into like a sloth mode of trying to eat, or you're trying to slow down. Therefore, you're creating a new event of a non-natural sound. Or number 2, 9 times it's because I don't have music on, so I can't drown out the sound effect that I'm hearing. So I'm hyper focusing into this and locked in. And until I'm in something breaks up the mode in my head or something else happens, it goes away.
So you have taco tinnitus every Tuesday?
I'm over here just eating on my own tacos very loudly to make it go away. Yep.
I was like, how does that play with you eating yourself? Is that something that...
I'm self-conscious that I'm just a mess, so that's what I'm worried about.
But if you're eating by yourself, nobody's watching you, do you hear it and get annoyed at your own chewing?
More than once. And that's yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing! I'm sorry, but that's amazing.
It's happened before. I'm not happy about it.
When did you first notice this being as vexing as it is?
I think, oh my God. I'm going to say this, quarantine? I think quarantine created this problem. I think this is just
all that silence,
all that empty room humming has definitely gotten to me.
All that damn room.
The room noises. Oh my God. And the Roomba. Oh, don't get me started on the Roombas. Every time it gets in my way, I'm like, hey, Roomba, I'm doing something. It's like some vacuum noise. Like, I'm like, stop it. Might change my answer just to Roomba, but we'll see.
When did this... Do you have a story of when this shone the brightest? That was just like... You made a mountain out of a molehill with somebody's molars mushing mashed potatoes?
Oh, man. You know what? That was well done. Well done. Did you write pregame notes for that?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well done.
Thank you.
I was doing something. God, I think I was in the middle of trying. I think I was working, and I was like on my third or fourth task of the day or something like that. And somebody next to me was just going full force on a burrito, and I was like, all right, I need to do two things. Either one, we need to remove the burrito, or number two, we need to disappear. One of the two things needs to happen in like 60 seconds, or I'm not going to be able to finish this task. I proceeded to go on a very long walk.
I was going to say, we're going to throw down and extradite this burrito from
this burrito is DQ'd. I'm done with this burrito. Get out of here.
All right, with that gigglesome, glorious tale, we're going to head to our second ad break, but don't go anywhere, because when we get back, Thomas is going to enter the lightning round. See you in a bit. Do you need 100 pounds of butter? Come on down to Company Street Company.
What if I need 30 gallons of olive oil?
Come on down to Company Street Company. But what if I just want one flatless bird roasted for a reasonable price? Come on down to Company Street Company.
Okay, but...
Just come on down to Company Street Company. We have everything for a better price. Free snacks, and employees who don't want to kill themselves. Or you, because we treat them like fucking human beings. Yeah, but... Yup.
Even...
Just get your ass down to Company Street Company, where the only sketchy thing we've ever done is enable frozen orange juice hoarders. And we're back. Thomas, are you ready to enter the lightning round?
Lightning round?
Lightning. I do look like Thor, so you might as well do it.
All right, buckle your seatbelts and keep your arms inside the ride at all times. Thomas, is there a price for you to give up your passion forever?
Yes.
Make the food or do the dishes?
Make the food.
Did you ever cheat on a test in school?
Yes.
Are you out of touch, or is it the children who are wrong?
I know I'm out of touch.
Would you rather have your inner monologue sound like Gilbert Gottfried or Fran Drescher?
Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah, go.
Would you rather read the cue cards while wearing the crown or live in a hovel and speak your mind?
Hovel.
Pineapple on pizza or fist fight?
Pineapple on pizza.
Is professional wrestling cool or lame?
Cool.
You're having the best day of your life. What happens next? Another amazing thing or something terrible?
Amazing.
Nick Cage, best or worst ever?
The bees!
Do you create your own thoughts or just listen to them?
I create my own thoughts.
Would you rather meet your mortal demise by vicious werewolf attack or single zombie bite?
Werewolves.
Bears, beets, or Battlestar Galactica?
Battlestar Galactica, baby. Let's go, Starbuck.
Reservoir Dogs or Blood Simple?
I haven't seen the second one, so Reservoir Dogs.
All right. You send a 13-year-old to go wash their hands after lunch. They have drawn on the back of their hand a little something with a ballpoint pen. They come back, the little doodle is still there. You ask them, did you wash their hands? They say, yeah. Did they wash their hands and the ink didn't come off, or are they lying to you?
I think they wash their hands no more than anything else, so that's fine.
Cheese fries, an abomination or gift from God?
A gift from God and can be upgraded. Cheese fries with gravy is the answer.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
Yes.
All right. You find out tomorrow you have a life-threatening disease. However, the doctor has good news. There's medicine that'll cure it. However, there are two options. One of them, you have to measure out the medicine each day, and if you do not take the exact same amount every single day, you'll die. The other is a measured out amount. However, you have to take it at the exact same minute every day, otherwise you will die. Which version of the medicine do you take?
The measure one out. We can definitely use some tools for that.
Cheater. Mm-hmm. Are truth and reality the same thing?
Ugh. That's all someone's perception. Maybe.
Are we simultaneously living in other dimensions at this very moment?
Yes.
Beatles or Elvis?
Neither.
Would you rather the checkout line never have a line, or the fast food place always gives you a large fry when you only ordered a medium?
Ooh. Upgrade my fries.
And lastly, could you eat 37 of your favorite food for $5,000 in a 1 hour time limit?
No, it's too much ramen.
Well, congratulations. You've survived the lightning round. And as a reward for saving my little village from the question mantra, I shall reward thee with a question that shall ring eternal in these lands until we get tired of hearing it. What is your question, brave soldier?
I have to look it up now. I sent it on. Hold on.
Holding 5 yards, first down.
Holding, first down. Repeat, first down. Okay. You can have superpowers that will let you either A, travel into the vastness of space, or into the darkness of the ocean's deep. Which way would you go?
Vastness of space. Ocean's scary.
100%. That is the correct answer.
Yay! I did it!
There's nothing in space. It's empty. We're fine. Ocean's scary.
Oh, there's monsters and tentacles.
Gravity.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thomas, as we come to a close here, anything you want to plug, shout-outs you'd like to give, places people can find you or your content?
Sure. Things I want to plug. Support your local tournament scene. Try to play. Support your local game store. But buy locally. Buy cards off your friends. Buy cards off your judges. Help out your local Friday Night Magic community or your local game store. They need the extra dollar in these trying times for your tabletop needs or your card game needs. You can find me on Twitter. Mages and Mentors is my handle, and you can probably find me at pretty much most events as I wander the West Coast and some of the East Coast over the course of the next year.
Radical. Do you have any friends or family you'd like to nominate to come on this podcast?
Yes.
So they too can suffer as you have today?
I am nominating Gunner. You are going to be in the hot seat because we get to talk about your fledgling beginnings of a TO thing he's trying to do.
All right, Gunner. We're gunning for you. Well, thank you, Tom, for being my guest today. And a special thanks are to my editor, Richard Ashford, and my composer, Joshua Gibbons. And thank you. Yes, you listening at home, wherever you found time to appreciate this. Time is the most precious commodity we have, and I appreciate you spending yours with us. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, or just share it with a friend. Every little bit helps. Or if you already have and are out of episodes to listen to, don't worry, we put out a new episode every Monday at midnight on Soundcloud, YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes at Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves Podcast. And a very special thanks are due to our patrons, Sabella Yellow. And if you'd like to join said illustrious ranks and have your name read aloud, just head on over to patreon.com/Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves Podcast. And remember, folks, if days are numbered and songs are sung, at the end of the day, I think we've all won. So please stick around, because great things have only just begun. And to be a baby, that's all, folks.